All right, good afternoon. Welcome to the University of Tennessee Nuclear Engineering Colloquium. We are very pleased this afternoon to have as our speaker. Oh, by the way, my name is Ron Peavy. For those of you expecting Lee Dodds, he's out of town, so I'm substituting for him. And we are very pleased this afternoon to have Dr. Eric Lowen here from General Electric to be our speaker. Let me give you a brief background of Dr. Lowen. He got his BS in Math and Chemistry from Western State College in Gunnison, Colorado. Are you from Colorado?
Yes.
How about that? Beautiful.
World's highest incorporated city,
Leadville. Yeah.
A lot of people say they're from there, but I don't know.
Very good. After BS, he joined the Nuclear Navy, where he had a 6-year stint there, including time as a division officer on a nuclear cruiser, and also time as an instructor at the Naval Prototype School there in Idaho Falls. After his Navy experience, he went back to the University of Wisconsin for a master's degree in nuclear engineering, which he received, after which he went to work for Molten Metal Technology. Dr. Lowen has been all over the place and has lots of good experience. There he worked with a waste processing firm and served as director of research. And after that experience, went back to Wisconsin once again for a PhD in engineering physics, after which he joined the staff at Idaho National Laboratory working on the development of advanced reactors, specifically lead bismuth cooled reactors, and I think a few others. In 2005, he spent a year as an ANS Congressional Fellow, working with Senator Chuck Hagel, right, from Nebraska, Senator from Nebraska. Eric has also been very active in the ANS. That's where most of us know him from. He served on the board of directors. He's been in the public. He got the ANS Public Communication Award. He actually was elected to the board of directors twice, and has had other prominent memberships in the industry, including serving on the Nuclear Facilities Standards Board. Currently, Eric serves for General Electric as the manager of the Advanced Plant New Product Introduction. Is that a group or a division? In Wilmington, North Carolina. So join me in welcoming Dr. Eric Lowen. Very good. It's all yours.
Thanks for having me here. I had the opportunity last night to watch a UT basketball game in a bar, and I was amazed at how many coaches there are in Tennessee that were there in the bar shouting very loudly at some misactions by your team, but I guess you won. So that was a big game? Okay. This is what I thought we'd do. A little bit about GE, job opportunities for you. There's some pens and pencils up here and some information about those opportunities so you can get those afterwards. A little bit of the history about sodium-cooled fast reactors, and we do have an expert in the crowd, Don Riley, who will keep me honest if I stray. Then we'll talk about what we're doing with PRISM, some of the features about it, and then this last thing is a Global Nuclear Energy Partnership, and that's what really brought me to town to Oak Ridge, Tennessee last night, because they had the first public hearing on where they're going to site these Global Nuclear Energy Partnership facilities, and that's what got me here. And Professor Dodds and I met in an airport long ago, and we hooked up that this would be a good day to talk. This is what General Electric looks like today. We have it divided into 6 different segments: infrastructure, industry, NBC Universal, healthcare, commercial services, and consumer finance. And out of all these different buckets, if you will, so each person leads, you have different people that lead those, and then you have Jeff Emmelt, who's each one of these leaders report to Jeff Emmelt. Below this is where energy is, and within energy we have nuclear energy, and that's the group I'm in. Oh, all right. So we point with the mouse. So within infrastructure we have different segments: energy, oil and gas, water, financial service, aircraft engines. And then within energy, it's further broken down into nuclear power, wind, hydro, gas turbines, and those sort of things. So that's kind of the structure of what GE is from, to give you an idea. So it's a big company, and nuclear energy is a part of it, but there's a lot of more facets as a part of GE. And the reason why I tell you that is if you come to work for GE, there's a lot of opportunities to cross across businesses and within different groups as your career develops. And if you don't like where you're at, then there's many different opportunities. If you don't like making nuclear reactors, you can make dishwashers. I don't know if there's a correlation there, but there's more people with dishwashers in their house than there are with nuclear reactors in their backyard. Pardon me? Yeah, there is, yes, we have a transportation division within infrastructure. GE has 100 or so jets that they lease, so they have quite a bit of, I mean, when we bought the newspaper or the NBC, I mean, we're definitely across the economy in a lot of different businesses. Here's what nuclear energy does as part of GE. We do three major things: nuclear power plants, services, where we go out and repair and keep those plants that we have online, about 33 boiling water reactors, and we do some services for pressurized water reactors, and we also make fuel. At Wilmington is where we actually get uranium hexafluoride from the customers, convert it into uranium oxide, squished into pellets, put it into zirc rods, and then we ship that out across the United States, to Mexico, to Spain, and then into Japan. So it's a fairly diversified global business, and you can see on this map kind of where we have a footprint across the globe. And one I'd like to call your attention to, and that is the Morris, Illinois site, and that'll come at the end where we talk about the Global Nuclear Energy Partnership and what we propose of how to use that GE facility, a commercial facility, to further the Global Nuclear Energy Partnership goals. Because of the growth, last year we hired 300 new nuclear engineers, and we're looking to fill over 100 positions this year. So there's many opportunities for those of you that are graduating to come on board with GE. We are starting to expand our facilities, and so this phase 2 over here, we're building an addition onto our building to house those people. And it was fate or luck would have it, we had not enough room in the inn, and so I was one of those people that volunteered to work at home for the next 4 months as that building gets complete. So life, I'm not complaining. As a business, we look at why nuclear power is doing good. And one of the things is the industry as a whole has done outstanding performance as far as capacity factors. When they look at the operating costs, they're comparable, if not lower than coal. The cost for new construction, these are our numbers. GE views nuclear power as the cheapest one to put on the grid based on our internal analysis. And we see that there's a growing support of nuclear power in general. These are some results from the Ann Visconti's research group. And then if you look at the life cycle costs of different externalities, we think that nuclear power has lower emissions. And then finally, the safety rate. If you want an industry to work in, nuclear energy is a good place to live. And I made the joke during my introduction that I was raised in Colorado. In fact, it was Leadville, Colorado, and it was a mining town. And when I grew up, you went up to the Climax Molybdenum, which is a molybdenum mine, and worked. And initially, as an 18-year-old, you could go work, but they were killing about one person per year that was between the age of 18 and 21, and so they upped the age to 21 before you could work underground. And so I grew up in a town where industrial death, let alone injury, was a common sort of thing that people weren't paying attention. So we definitely have a safe industry. This is our forecast of how many nuclear power plants we think we're going to have around the world. So in North America, we think there's going to be 4 plant orders. And this includes both technologies, both pressurized and boiling water reactors. And we see that growing to 13 cumulative by 2020. We see Europe with the chart there, and then finally with Asia, you see that we see the greatest potential there. General Electric currently is constructing 2 boiling water reactors in Taiwan, and we put 4 reactors in Japan online. So General Electric is ahead in the sense that we're the only vendor that has built a Generation 3 reactor and have the experience, and we're poised to build any of those in the United States. Here's our hiring. Here's the demographics of the people we've hired. 140 of those had from 0 to 10 years of experience in the industry. And so we're looking for fresh engineers to come join our team to work in Wilmington, North Carolina. You can surf in the wintertime. I was surfing this week with my kids. You have to buy a wetsuit, though. And it's a great opportunity to live, and you can see that we have some graduates from University of Tennessee that are coming on board. We built the advanced boiling water reactor. It was a Generation 3 reactor, and in GE we had another group that was working on the ESBWR, and that particular reactor is trying to simplify the advanced boiling reactor even further by getting rid of a lot of the extra pumps and trying to make it even simpler and go into fully natural circulation. And this built off of the proven platform that we had with the advanced boiling water reactor. We took those economic advantages and tried to simplify it with less components. And with that, we have a full passive system, so we're pouring less concrete that has to be nuclear grade. That particular design now, we put in a license submittal with or a COLA, or I forget the exact term, the initial application to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, and we're working with them to finally get that as a certified design. And that's part of the Nuclear Power 2010 program. And this is kind of a look at the ESBWR. We think the capital cost on the grid will be about $1,300 per kilowatt. And we're hoping to deploy one of those reactors. So as a vendor, we're sitting here with the advanced boiling water reactor that if the utility wants to start today, like South Texas project is, they could buy that. It's proven. We know how much concrete to take. We've built those. You have 30 years of reactor operation. If you want something a little bit more innovative and the capital costs a little bit cheaper, then we have the ESBWR. Anything else on General Electric before we get into fast reactors? Okay. How many fast reactors have we built in this world? In the world, sodium fast reactors. More than 10? If you could read the eye chart up front here, it turns out that we have built 22 sodium fast reactors around the world. In the United States, we've built how many? 2? 3? So experimental breeder reactor number 1, experimental breeder reactor number 2, FFTF, Clinch or Fermi 1, and there's one other one, C4. General Electric built a fast test reactor in the great state of Arkansas to test that oxide fuels had a Doppler feedback, and that reactor has since been decommissioned. So the United States has built 5 out of those 22 sodium fast reactors. If you go way back in the history, the first one is Clementine, which is deployed really not as a reactor to generate power, but to understand reactor physics at Los Alamos National Laboratory. And EBR-1 is a very unique one in the sense that at the time when World War II was over, the atomic weapons were used, those scientists wanted to show the positive uses of nuclear power. But at the time, they viewed the world as constrained by uranium. We didn't have enough uranium. So the only way nuclear energy would be viable is if you could breed fuel. So this reactor started up in December of 1951. For the first time, made electricity, used a sodium, or used NAC, sodium potassium coolant, and it actually bred fuel. And one of the guys that was there was a guy named Kirby Whitham, who is a friend or really a mentor that still lives in Idaho Falls, was there that night that they actually made electricity on the 4 light bulbs, and some of you may have seen that picture. And that was based on the constraint that we didn't have enough uranium. Then we went into the light water reactors that the Navy pioneered, and Westinghouse then took the pressurized water reactor and commercialized that. They also had the boiling water reactor, which was the first reactor that made electricity for a town, and that was a technology that General Electric then commercialized. And we went down the road, and we had these guys called miners, probably some of them came from Leadville, Colorado, and found there's a lot of uranium in the ground. So that constraint early on, the constraint early on with EBR